Be honest, how glad are you for 2020 to be over? If so, you're definitely not alone. And while probably none of us is sad to see this year end, as with every tough time, there were some actual takeaways. And that's what today's video is all about. Even though 2020 has brought challenges, it's important to not give in to the temptation to judge the moment of, in this case, the year as entirely bad. When we label something as good or bad, we cut ourselves off from the hidden gifts that those experiences might be offering us. They might be strengthening us. They might be getting us ready for tougher times.
Knock on wood.
Lots of us missed our office colleagues this year because we were told to stay home. But according to data from COSO Cloud, 77% of telecommuters report being more productive at home. And according to AmeriSleep, 80% of those work from home actually report less work-related stress. FlexJob says people who work remotely earn an average of $4,000 more per year. Plus, COSO Cloud says 30% of us save up to $5,240 per year by telecommuting. And even though lots of us were feeling blue because of isolation, in many cities, outside our windows, there were blue skies thanks to huge drops in air pollution.
I can breathe again.
Yet sometimes the gifts and the learning from tough times are hidden far more deeply. Beth Kanopik understands. 8 years ago, she lost her 16-year-old daughter, Liana, when suddenly and inexplicably, a virus Liana contracted migrated to her heart and could not be cured. After a tumultuous month in the hospital, Beth's vibrant, joyful, athletic daughter was gone. It's every parent's worst nightmare, and as you'd imagine, it catapulted Beth into what seemed like bottomless grief. And yet last year, something incredible happened. Beth gathered 14 other mothers in and around her Florida town who had all lost children for lunch. She says there wasn't a dry eye in the room, only the tears weren't from sadness. They were from joy. Somehow each one of these mothers, some of whom had lost more than one child, were able to share positive, loving memories of their children, along with the beautiful ways their lives had changed as a result of their profound loss. Of course, every one of these women would rather have had their children back. But remarkably, they were able to take what had happened and allow something powerful to grow from it. As one of my good friends, Ray Dalio, says, pain plus reflection equals progress. Today, I want to share 10 takeaways from this especially tough year. Because as we practice looking for the learning, we train ourselves to see, at least eventually, the powerful positive change that can occur alongside or as a result of our setbacks. Here's takeaway number 1. Adaptability is the greatest superpower. This year, like so many of you, I had a little bit more time in front of my TV. Not a ton, but a bit. So I watched the docuseries The Last Dance about Michael Jordan's final seasons with the Chicago Bulls. When it comes to adaptability, I think about a lot like basketball. If you get the ball and you don't have a shot, or the player you wanted to pass to isn't open, you keep pivoting until you find an opportunity. Whether it's dealing with loss, trying to adapt to changing school routines, or statewide guidelines, or building a career or relationship, I can't think of one area of life where cultivating flexibility isn't one of your greatest assets. And this year gave us great practice at just that. Takeaway number 2. It is so important to be around the right people. I learned this from The Last Dance too. One of the things that really struck me was just how deeply those championship Bulls teams were. It really was a team effort, and so is life. Take a look at your team. Whether that's your family, your friends, your colleagues. Is everyone fully engaged? Is everyone appreciated for their unique skills and abilities? Is anyone detracting from what's possible? Or is your team helping you to achieve your full potential? And are you helping them achieve theirs? Takeaway number 3 is that the world has a lot of goodness. TV host Fred Rogers once said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" The number of Americans suffering from depression and anxiety tripled this year due to the pandemic. Many of us already on the edge of burnout and already feeling a sense of loneliness and disconnection were pushed into overload. And yet, in the midst of this, so many social media stars and celebrities, and everyone, the frontline workers, the people at our grocery stores, found ways to make a difference. Selena Gomez, for one, pledged to raise $100 million over the next 10 years towards closing gaps in mental health support. And all of this caring had an impact. Though levels of depression and anxiety skyrocketed in the spring, they have since fallen. Through their own compassion, these helpers have also shown us takeaway number 4, that our vulnerability is our greatest strength and that we are all stronger together. And that connects to takeaway number 5. Pain often brings solutions to address it. Just as it had done with mental health challenges this year, we create more solutions when we connect through our pain. Just like Beth Canopik experienced when her grief drove her to reach out to other mothers to support one another through loss. And that leads to takeaway number 6, that we truly are all connected. That we do, or what we don't do, has a ripple effect, positive or negative. Yes, illness can spread virally, but so can love. What I do matters, and what you do matters. So much was different this year. Most of the things we normally do, we can no longer do, especially with regard to work. One of the things I really saw this year though, was that for people whose purpose is linked to compassion and linked to service, there is never ever a way for that purpose to be taken away from you. I look for certainty in uncertain times through service. That's takeaway number 7. I realized that if my podcast disappeared or my social media channels disappeared one day, I would still be able to find ways to serve and ways to connect. It's like when my book got pushed back this year, I was still able to try and teach meditation on Instagram and Facebook. It was the best thing I could do. But when you set out to serve and you make that part of your identity, you'll never be unsatisfied. Takeaway number 8 has to do with gratitude. This is a pretty simple one that I bet resonates with so many of you. I am now so grateful for so many everyday things I took for granted. Dining out, traveling freely, and so many more. The Seattle Times ran a list of things we miss, including in-person happy hours, maskless grocery shopping, and summer vacation. But the Times also included a second list of things we hope never come back. And that's takeaway number 9. Disruption can be a great opportunity to get rid of things that don't serve us. On the Times list of things we hope don't come back are wearing restrictive office clothes, and I bet the dry cleaning bills that go with that too, commuting and sitting in traffic, and to bring it full circle, taking things for granted. Now that we've broken out of some of these patterns and routine behaviors, we can decide what we actually want back when things change, and what we don't. We did a lot this year. Yes, we struggled, but was also supported by one another. We leaned in, we cried together, and also we laughed together. Some of us were even willing to make total fools of ourselves online just to make others smile and to relieve some of the stress. And that's my 10th and final takeaway from 2020. That laughter and connection truly are medicine. Whether it was January Jones sharing her self-taught tap dance skills on Instagram, The Rock playfully tossing his daughter in the pool and her ending up in outer space on TikTok. And then of course there's my wife, who's always making me laugh and who's posted loads of her own hilarious videos over the year. She's never afraid to be goofy or silly to make others smile. And I so appreciate that. And I so appreciate everyone out there who's brought a smile to someone else's face this year. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for reading my book. I'm so deeply grateful to each and every one of you. Sending you lots of love and all the best for 2021. If you want even more videos just like this one, make sure you subscribe and click on the boxes over here. I'm also excited to let you know that you can now get my book, Think Like a Monk, from thinklikeamonkbook.com. Check below in the description to make sure you order today.